Which players will be award winners and league leaders in 2023? What's going on, BLV? It's Mitch here, back with another NFL season-long predictions video. And in this video, I'm giving you my picks for the award winners this 2023 NFL regular season, along with every stat leader for this season. So if that sounds good, don't forget to spike the like button and subscribe for more NFL just like this. Also, let me know in the comment section below your picks for the awards and the stat leaders for 2023. Let's begin with my stat leader picks for 2023, because I think that provides great context for who's actually going to win the awards. When we know who's putting up a lot of numbers, we can understand why they're winning a trophy. Let's begin with the quarterback position, the passing statistics, yards, touchdowns. First, passing yards. My crystal ball suggests Justin Herbert of the Los Angeles Chargers will lead the league in passing yards, with Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, now Quentin Johnston, a first-round pick, Rashawn Slater at left tackle to protect the blind side, a running back that would rather catch than run, Kellen Moore, a new OC to open things up, especially explosives down the field. This is a team that wants to air the football out. They have a respectable tight end in Everett. They have all the pieces for Herbert to torch defenses through the air. He is just a wonder of an accurate arm talent in the pocket. This is a team that's going to need to score points to win. This is a team that's going to be aggressive in doing so. And I believe Herbert is about to torch defenses for over 5,000 yards. He's done it before. I think he'll do it again, and he will lead the league in passing yards. The passing touchdown department, you have to lean more towards a team that's going to score a lot of points, but also win a lot of games because they're scoring a lot of points. And I think it's going to be Joe Burrow of the Cincinnati Bengals, the quarterback of the team that I think will finish first in the AFC in the regular season. They have 3 receivers that are all tall, big red zone targets. Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. Makes a lot of sense. Burrow has a lot of control over the offense at the line of scrimmage, and I think he's going to throw 35, 40 touchdowns this season. Moving to the rushing department, the rushing yards leader is going to be Bijan Robinson. Yes, the rookie is going to lead the league on the ground for the Atlanta Falcons. I'm expecting a big offensive output for the Atlanta Falcons this year, and a majority of it has to come from their first-round pick this year because they're a run-heavy team. And I think Bijan could have one of the best rookie seasons we've seen in a while, rushing for 1,500-plus yards, getting 300-plus touches this year. I think he's going to be dominant, and I feel he's going to be very efficient with a great workload on the ground with a very good offensive line, a perfect scheme. And the Falcons are going to want to prove the point of why they picked a running back so high. And I think they're going to feed this man. And Bijan, we know he'll do the rest. So I'm picking Bijan to lead the league in rushing yards. The rushing touchdown leader is a lot more tricky. It's kind of inconsistent and hard to judge. It's even more difficult, I would say, than passing touchdowns or receiving touchdowns. Rushing touchdowns are more random and dependent on carries within the red zone. One guy that I can count on is Josh Jacobs. I'm going to pick Josh Jacobs to lead the league in rushing touchdowns. He led the NFL in rushing yards last year. He just signed a pretty nice contract this season. I do think the Raiders are going to run him into the ground this year. And I think Josh McDaniels has always been an OC. I know him best, being a Pats fan. He loves to run the ball within that 5-yard line. I think Josh Jacobs is going to get a ton of carries. It's also a quarterback position with Jimmy Garoppolo. That's maybe a little bit lacking that trust within that red zone. That's one of his weak areas, I would say. So I think McDaniels is going to lean heavily into the run game with the I formation, the fullback, get Jakob in there. Just lead Josh Jacobs into the end zone on some power running plays. I could see Jacobs scoring 15 to 20 touchdowns and definitely contesting for the rushing touchdown crown. Moving to the receiver position, we've got 3 different categories, beginning with receptions. The NFL leader in catches this season, I'm going to go a little bit out there with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I believe that St. Brown is going to have a huge year. I've often comped it to Wes Welker. Like, I think he's going to have a year where it's like every third down, every defense knows who's getting the ball. They just can't stop it. And this guy's going to have 8, 9, 10 catches a game consistently. I think he's going to go for 130 catches this year. I think Goff is going to have to force him the ball because there's really not a lot of other reliable chain movers. I think Reynolds, Jones, and eventually Jameson Williams will be downfield, big play threats, but I think the guy that's the engine, the third down chain mover, is that dude. And now with Kelsey and Cooper Kupp being a little bit banged up, it opens up a guy like St. Brown to step into that position as the ultimate third down chain mover for one of the best offenses in football. I like this sleeper pick. The receiving yards leader, I'm not going to go with the sleeper. I'm not going to be an idiot. I'm just going to pick Justin Jefferson. I don't really need to say anything other than he's the best receiver in the sport. Kirk Cousins loves the guy. They have a great rapport. Their defense stinks, so they're going to have to throw the ball. And Jefferson is pretty much uncoverable. We saw that last year. I think a great receiver like this just continues to tear apart the NFL, as we've seen many times over the years, whether it's been a Terrell Owens or a Randy Moss or a Marvin Harrison or a Jerry Rice, Julio or Antonio Brown. These guys just year after year come back and they just put up numbers. And I think that's what Jefferson is going to continue to do in his career. The receiving touchdown leader, I like to correspond it with my passing touchdown leader because I do feel that it oftentimes has some carryover. I'm going to take Jamar Chase to lead the league in passing touchdowns, with Joe Burrow leading that passing category and Jamar leading the receiving touchdown department. Jamar is a perfect red zone threat. He can beat you down the field vertically from far out, 70, 80, 60-yard touchdowns. He can break slants open for touchdowns. He can also win jump balls in the end zone. I think there is a possibility that we're talking about Jamar Chase as the best receiver in football this season. So I'm going to pick him to lead the league in receiving touchdowns. Now, let's move to the defensive side of the football, beginning with sacks. This is probably the one that most people are trying to track throughout the season. I always feel it's an interesting race. My pick this year is going to be Myles Garrett. And I think the big reason I'm going to go with Myles Garrett to have the most sacks of his career this year and the best season of his career this year is he actually has help. He has Zadarius Smith. He has Dalvin Tomlinson. He has Jim Schwartz scheming up his defense, putting Garrett in positions to succeed. Garrett's always been phenomenal, a superb talent. But this year, I think it's going to hit that next level of about 20 sacks, 18 to 20 sacks this year for Myles Garrett. I'm adding a stat here. It's not an official statistic that we look at, but pressures is definitely one that people do follow nowadays thanks to things like PFF and advanced stats. So I'm going to add the pressure stat to this conversation and go with Micah Parsons of the Dallas Cowboys. He has a relentless motor. He does have good pieces around him. He's on an elite defense with a great coverage unit that will allow him to get to the quarterback. And the guy just can beat you in a majority of ways. I think he actually beefed up this year. I think he's going to be stronger, more powerful. You already know what he can do in terms of twitch, quickness, and speed, and explosion and explosiveness. And I feel Micah Parsons is going to dominate this year. So give me him for the pressures stat. And I get it. Everyone every year in this video says, Mitch, why didn't you predict tackles, bro? Why do you predict tackles? So I'm just going to predict tackles for everybody out there. Give me Roquan Smith for the Baltimore Ravens. He's been up there the last couple of years in this category. I think he continues to rack up a ton of tackles. And eventually, Oluokun can't finish first in tackles. I think Roquan Smith is the guy to surpass him this year in the middle of the Baltimore defense. The interceptions stat is always a fun one, but completely random. I'm going to go with the guy that consistently gets his hands on the football year after year. With TJ Watt back in the front, I think Minkah Fitzpatrick benefits from a great pass rush and jumps routes. He's in a great position to be an interception guy. He largely has his eyes on the football. He's usually not in man, which allows him to jump routes, play the ball, and be a playmaker. I think he leads the NFL in interceptions with 7 or 8 in 2023. So those are your league leaders for the 2023 NFL season. Now, let's move to our award winners. Now, keep in mind some of those players that have led the NFL in stats, because that definitely matters when it comes to the MVP and other award conversations. Let me know your award winners in the comment section below right now. Let's go. Let's begin with the Comeback Player of the Year award, one that I feel is almost the most obvious it's ever been. It's got to be Damar Hamlin. Like, if he just plays a snap, I think Damar Hamlin is going to win this award. We saw what happened to him last year. It's a miraculous recovery. It's a great story for the Bills, for himself, for the NFL, and they're going to acknowledge that, and I understand that, and I think that he is definitely walking away with this award, kind of like how Alex Smith was able to win this award with the Washington football team, Commanders. I don't know what their name was at that time, but regardless, it was a little bit like that. I think Hamlin will be the winner before the season really even begins. Now let's move to the rookie conversation, where I think it gets a little bit more interesting. The rookie of the year on the offensive side of the football, I'm going to go with Bijan Robinson. If I have him leading the NFL in rushing yards, I have to have him winning this award. I don't see a quarterback really coming out here this year, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, or anyone else, torching the NFL. Maybe if Bryce Young's able to capture the NFC South crown, it would make it interesting, but I think he's going to be closer to a game manager than a true playmaker like Bijan, who could see 1,500 yards rushing, 50 catches, 10 plus touchdowns. The guy could dominate and be a fantasy football darling, which will only help his stock for this award. I think he walks away with this award. Don't sleep on Jahmyr Gibbs, though. I just feel like Bijan's in a better spot, and I do think he is the slightly better, more talented player. And I do think the Falcons are going to be a great story this season, so Bijan is going to take this award. The defensive rookie of the year, I'm not going with the typical pick. I think a lot of people are going to go with Will Anderson, maybe some Tyree Wilson love, possibly some Christian Gonzalez, or even Devin Witherspoon. But I am going to go with a shocking pick. I'm going to take Jack Campbell of the Detroit Lions. I didn't take Jahmyr Gibbs for the offensive rookie. I'm going to go with Jack Campbell. I think the Lions are going to win the NFC North. I think their defense is going to be improved. And a lot of times people look at the linebacker position, the leadership. It's obviously a position that racks up a lot of stats. They're always around the football. I think Jack Campbell, he was actually the highest graded rookie in the preseason this season for PFF. I think that translates to the regular season. I think he's going to be a very good, stable force in the middle of their defense, in coverage, in run defense. He is a good player, and I think he's going to showcase that. If he could just put up enough tackles, a few interceptions, which I think he definitely has the capacity to do, I think this is a guy that could really be a good story this season and at least flirt with this award. But I'm going to pick him just because it's fun. Why not? Okay, let's move to the Coach of the Year. The Coach of the Year, I'm going to continue my theme of the Atlanta Falcons. I'm going with Arthur Smith. Now, I thought about this one. I didn't really know where to go because, like, Andy Reid is obviously going to always kind of lean towards Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, Zach Taylor is going to go towards Joe Burrow. John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson. Then you look at maybe Kyle Shanahan, like maybe they'll finally give him this award, but I don't know, right? Who's the surprise pick? Typically, the coach of the year is the surprise team that makes it out of nowhere. I don't think it would be Robert Saleh if the Jets make it. I don't think it would be Mike McDaniel. Maybe Bill Belichick if the Patriots make the playoffs. But like, I don't know, man. Like, it's really tough. You guys give me your answers. I feel like Arthur Smith, because I don't think anyone's going to give the love to Desmond Ridder. I think everyone is going to look at what Arthur Smith was able to do in the running game, helping Bijan accomplish a historic rookie season. And that's going to allow Arthur Smith to get a lot of praise for his best season yet to take the Atlanta Falcons to the playoffs as an underdog that no one saw coming, winning that division. So I'm going to go with Arthur Smith. Typically, this award is a narrative, and I think that is really what I'm leaning towards on this one. The offensive and defensive players of the year. Starting with the offensive player of the year, this one is difficult too. I didn't want to repeat Justin Jefferson, although that's entirely possible. I discussed Jamar Chase as well. And typically, I feel this award is shifting towards the non-quarterback award because everyone has kind of been critical about the MVP being an only quarterback award, that I think the NFL and voters are starting to give this award to a non-quarterback most of the time. I think this award is going to go to Christian McCaffrey. I'm taking Christian McCaffrey because I think he's going to be the centerpiece of the best team in the NFC during the regular season. The centerpiece of their offense on the ground, in the receiving game. Brock Purdy, the guy that he's looking to on big third downs. McCaffrey's going to have a ton of touchdowns, a ton of catches, a ton of yards. And I think he'll put up the most well-rounded running back season alongside Bijan Robinson. Bijan will be in this conversation, but the Niners, I think, are going to dominate offensively, defensively as a team. And I think that will show up for Christian McCaffrey in this running for this award. The defensive player of the year. This one is kind of a two-horse race for me in my mind. I see it as Micah Parsons or my award winner, Myles Garrett. I have Myles Garrett winning this award, I think, for the first time in his career, which feels a little bit overdue at this point. He's been a great player for a number of years. All his peers have won this award. TJ Watt has won this award. We've seen Nick Bosa win this award. I feel like Myles Garrett, it's his time to win this award. And with him leading the NFL in sacks, I think it's an easy choice for the voters this season. And the last and final award is the MVP, the most valuable player. I have Joe Burrow winning the MVP this year. I have the Cincinnati Bengals finishing as the number one seed in the AFC. Typically, the award goes to a number one seed. Mahomes this year, right? Aaron Rodgers the last couple of years. We saw Lamar Jackson as a number one seed win this award. Tom Brady in 2017. Patrick Mahomes in 2018. Like, you can go all the way back, right? Like, I think the last time it didn't go to a number one seed was maybe Matt Ryan. So usually it goes to a number one seed. My number one seeds are the Niners and the Bengals. And I'm going to go with Joe Burrow because I don't see Brock Purdy winning this award. So I'm going to go with Joe Burrow here. He's going to lead the NFL in touchdowns or be close to it. Everyone gives him credit for the culture, the leadership that he brings. I think that definitely helps him. And he's a very popular player that has yet to win this award. So I think Joe Burrow is the man for the MVP in 2023. Those are my award winners. Those are the leaders in every stat. Let me know yours in the comment section below. Gronk, spike the like button. We'll see you in the next video, guys. Can't wait for the NFL season. It's Mitch. Peace.